Okay, off you go.
Okay, I chose Fargo, which was released in 1996 by the Coen Brothers. I chose a clip from 25 minutes in, and it's when the kidnappers have just driving back to Brainerd after they'd kidnapped Jerry's wife, and they run into trouble with a cop, and they have to kill him to uh, carry on. I'm going to start with the technical aspects and go through them. We first see an establishing crane shot of statue of Paul Bunyan, and this is used to set the scene. It shows that it's night, and it shows that they're driving to Brainerd. We kind of then the next interesting shot is a point of view shot from inside the kidnapper's car of the cop car, and we see the red flashing lights, which puts us in the shoes of the kidnappers because they start to get tense, and with notions of red and cop cars flashing lights, we get a sense of that too. When the cop comes over, we don't actually see his head. They just used high angles for the cop, like over the shoulder, and low angles for the kidnappers. So this dehumanizes the cop, and it makes the comedy more acceptable. Like, it makes it funny when they shoot him because it's still serious, but it makes it funny. And it's only when he comes down to their level, that's when they shoot him. And we'd get two close-up reaction shots of the kidnappers just after the shooting. One where he just looks totally unfazed, and the other is shocked, and it's this nice contrast, and it heightens the comedy because Carl has got quite a funny reaction, and like horror and comedy go together quite well in contrast. The sound in this scene is quite parallel, and this runs through the whole film really, with a soundtrack there at the start of the scene, which kind of sets the scene. It's quite sinister, and it lets us know that it's kind of the dark point of the scene. The dialogue used in this scene, there's not much of it, and it's fairly simple. The non-diegetic sound, like the soundtrack, they use violins in this scene when the copper turns on his lights, and this help also builds the tension quite a bit. The editing, the start of the scene, there's a fade in, which helps us recognise that it's a new location and maybe some time's passed. And yeah, the style of the cuts in the scene is quite slow until they're about to shoot the copper, where it speeds up a bit, and this also builds tension, and it kind of breaks it up. It keeps the audience interested with different shot times. I'll go on to representation now. At the start of the scene again, we've got a statue of Paul Bunyan, and I thought this could represent Jerry and the kidnappers, because Paul Bunyan was a legendary character made up by profit-driven wood companies, like logging companies, and it's quite a nice representation, because Jerry and the kidnappers, they're all greedy for money, and so, but they appear to be, and they're shown to be in the film quite likable characters, but in actual fact, underneath they're greedy and they just want money. And this statue repeatedly appears, and it's kind of we always see it with the bad guys, and it's just there as a reminder to kind of help us. In this scene, there's quite a lot of the use of red because the scene's set in the dark. The Coen brothers have used it's set in the snow as well. They've used kind of three main colours, which is kind of the darkness and the red and the white, and the red can represent a lot of stuff, you know, blood, death, danger, and it's all present in this scene. When with the cop lights and stuff. The target audience for the film, I had a look on IMDb, and the majority were 18 to 40-year-olds and males as well. This could be because of the character's age, and the different actors used are quite kind of what adults would like. It's not a childish film, or it's not a film for old people. It's too dark for the older generations. And also, the directors themselves can be seen as representing like a target audience because they're kind of middle-aged. The Coen brothers are middle-aged, and they'd make a film that they would like, so that kind of fits in. And if we watch the trailer, we see that straight away the film's it's like a black comedy. There's violence and there's sex in it, and this is quite appealing to the middle-aged people. Genre can also, the Coen brothers genre is kind of minimal. They've got lots of different types of films like westerns and Fargo, which is a thriller, black comedy, adventure kind of thing, but they're all fairly similar, and most of them are kind of dark comedies, which, if you don't have the right sense of humour, can be taken very seriously. It's only like the actual story is serious, and then they make the characters, they play on stereotypes which make us like them and make them funny, and make them funny characters. And this kind of helps build like the black comedy, and it's all very dry humour. Other like dark comedies similar to Fargo's Blood Simple, Serious Man, and No Country for Old Men. And I think No Country for Old Men is very similar to Fargo. It's got crime in it. It's got policemen chasing criminals, and it's set in a similar. If it wasn't winter, it would be set in a similar kind of scene, but different. It's kind of desolate and extreme conditions. And in terms of the characters, they're very stereotypical. So in No Country for Old Men, they're all Western characters and they've got the accent, and in Fargo it's exactly the same. They've all got the Minnesota accent, and the Coen brothers have used the Minnesota accent very well because, well, they grew up there, which helped, and the accent sounds a bit lazy and they've used that to help with the comedy and the characters. They sound comical. In terms of narrative, there's lots of binary oppositions in this, with cops and criminals, good guys and bad guys, male and female. The chief police police officer is a female, and she's kind of battling these guys, the bad guys. Also, Todorov's disequilibrium theory fits in quite well with this, with lots of character developments. They starts off normal, and when Jerry's wife's kidnapped, things start to go wrong, and it's kind of a tale of errors. It's a comedy of errors, because whenever he tries to keep fixing all these problems, but they just don't go his way, and in the end, there's kind of resolution through the kidnappers die, and Jerry dies, and like the whole problem's kind of resolved. The budget for this film was $7 million, and in 1 year they took worldwide they took $60 million, which is it was their first kind of major profit-making film, and it did really well in the cinemas, because it's a good film. And at the time, at the beginning of this film, it's got a short thing saying it's a true story, and back when it was released, everyone thought that it was actually a true story, and they took it really seriously, and but later on they found out that it wasn't. It was made up. It was a made up story. But the hype that created helped them make all this money. The actors they use, Steve Buscemi, who's Carl. He's one of the kidnappers. He also worked on Big Lebowski, and a lot of the actors, Frances McDormand and Peter Stormare, they've all worked with them before on different projects, and it's quite a running theme in like all their films that they work with the same crew and some of the same actors, and they build up a relationship, and it's quite interesting how different the characters are in each of the different films that they make. Really. Yeah, that's about it.